Let's go.
Welcome to the Integrative Edge, your go-to podcast for fresh perspectives on holistic health and functional movement. Join us as we explore innovative ways to optimize your health naturally and sustainably.
I'm Kelly Demers, founder of the Integrative Wellness Coalition and the owner of True North Performance.
I'm Lindsay Seefeld, doctor of physical therapy and owner and operator of Uplifted Oncology Rehab.
I'm Dr. Kimberly Klimek, licensed pharmacist and owner of Innate Healing and Performance.
You can find the show on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you get your podcasts. Subscribe so you never miss an episode.
Welcome back to the Integrative Edge, your podcast where we explore innovative ways to optimize your health naturally and sustainably. I am your host, Kelly Demers, and as always, joined by my two amazing co-hosts, Dr. Lindsay Seefeld and Dr. Kim Klimek. Today's topic is liver health, a foundation for overall wellness. So today we're going to take a deep dive into all things liver health related. Your liver does far more than just detoxify. It orchestrates hormones, digestion, and energy. And yet it's one of those it's just often overlooked until it sends distress signals. So today we're going to shine a spotlight on this powerhouse organ. And we're going to start with the question, why is liver health so central to overall well-being? And especially relative to hormone balance and detox.
Oh, I love talking about the liver. Super excited for this topic. So our liver is kick-ass. It is just like the body's chemical factory. This is where, our liver does over 500 different functions in our body. It is so incredibly important for, like you said, detoxing, just regulating, breaking down certain things. So we have to have this liver optimally functioning or it's going to slow everything else down in our body. And so I've got some cool stats here. So our liver is the largest internal organ. It weighs about 3 to 4 pounds in an adult body. It's located up at the right upper abdomen, so kind of underneath our rib cage. And this is so cool. So how much do you think, I'm going to ask you guys, you're going to give me a guess here. Okay. In a 24-hour period, how many gallons do you think filter through our liver of blood? How much blood will filter through our liver in a 24-hour period? Gallons.
Ooh. In 24 hours?
In a 24-hour period.
Oh,
I'm going to say
10? I don't know.
I was going to say, I don't know. I'll go 6.
Oh my gosh. 500 gallons of blood
We weren't even
every single day.
I was like...
So your liver will process 1.4 liters of blood every single minute. Can you think about that? So that is ridiculous the amount of blood that is just literally pouring through our liver, each and every single second, minute, and it's just... And that makes sense. So, you're thinking about your overall health and wellness. If that liver is not filtering like it's meant to filter, things are going to get really stagnant and backed up. So that's what we're definitely going to be talking about. Other cool fact is our liver is the only organ that can regenerate itself. So even up to 50 to 75%, if the liver is removed, it can grow back. So it is amazing. And that's essential. We'll talk about this too, metabolizing most of your medications. And, damage can be very quiet. It's very silent. So a lot of times we don't know that the liver is, screaming until it's pretty advanced. So those are some really cool facts about the liver.
I want to say it's our that's what I explain it to clients. I'm like, it's our master filter. And I literally say that. I'm like, it's filtering your blood every day. And it's literally processing hormones, toxins, medications, nutrients. It has a role in blood sugar regulation. So when I see lab values, when I see lab values for things that are off, it has a role in thyroid conversion and production. So I actually say, okay, the way we're going to treat this is actually by starting to actually cleanse cleanse your liver and support your liver health here a little bit because you never really thought about that. And then they look at me like, what the heck does my liver have to do with any of those? Or when they have painful periods, and I'm like, okay, I actually just need to have you start here with this like little liver flush for about 7 to 14 days, and then your next cycles are going to go a little bit better. And they kind of look at me with like crazy eyes, like, what does my liver have to do with my painful periods? And I'm like, it processes your estrogen, and like, so yeah, and involved over 500 critical functions. I mean, there's bile production, like we said, to help keep your bowel movements going, cholesterol balance, immune defense, all these wonderful functions that our liver doesn't always get a lot of love. So I'm always telling people, you got to love the liver. You got to love the liver.
Well, and I know in previous podcasts, you've talked about liver-loving foods. I remember having conversations
Good. I'm glad
around
that's
that.
stuck in your brain.
Yeah. What are some physical signs or movement-related symptoms that might suggest suboptimal liver function?
Yeah, so I think like the biggest thing, like especially from the physical therapy aspect, I will see, people complain of fatigue, pain, delayed tissue healing, inflammation in general. You will see, obesity start increasing, diabetes, long-term, especially with people on long-term medication, just different backups and issues with that way. So those, I think, are kind of the big key things.
What you hit on something as I was doing deep dives into this episode. I was surprised to learn that about 25 to 30% of American adults have metabolic dysfunction, even if they have zero alcohol use. So I just think it's interesting as we dive into some of the dysfunctions that come, as a result of poor liver.
Yeah.
I was just thinking, I had a new potential client the other day, and the reason they called me was because they were having like chronic, basically couldn't sleep at night, and chronic skin rashes and itching. And instantly my brain's like, oh, liver. Like, I need to support this person's liver. Like, that's where my brain goes. But like some of the other signs, we talked about like hormonal imbalances, like estrogen dominance, PMS, heavy painful periods, clotting, heavy bleeding. And then of course, like bloating, constipation, pale or greasy stools. Obviously that can have impairments in bile flow, which with your biliary tree and everything in the liver, just strong fatigue and brain fog, headaches, can't sleep at night. In Chinese medicine, they say that if you're waking up around 1 to 3 a.m., those are just triggers for your liver, cortisol, liver. Could be a combination of both, but liver health, and I know like Ayurvedic medicine is very into like liver health. They definitely talk about it as like a very pivotal and important like organ. And then, and again, like the skin issues, that is something to me too, that starts to trigger any type of like strong, like certain types of acne patterns too, like along the face can indicate more liver congestion. Then of course you have like yellowing of the eyes or jaundice type symptoms. More sensitivity to alcohol, that can indicate your liver is definitely more bogged down. Sensitivity to smells, don't process medications well.
What are some natural strategies to support liver function?
Well, I think in my realm, the detoxification. So I have to, when an individual is coming to me, with any type of, high inflammation, all these symptoms that they're talking about, we've got to, number one, get that liver released and moving. And when an individual comes to me, I can palpate, I can feel that the liver is stuck and not moving. Like there is an actual feel to your liver. A healthy liver, if I would palpate it or push into it, it should be like a sponge. It's very spongy type organ. When I'm reaching in and I'm feeling it, it's like a hard thunk and it does not want to move and your rib cage is really stuck. That is definitely a sign to me that that liver is not optimally functioning. And so, that's the process, teaching clients how to get that liver detoxified. And so, working with Kim internally, what you can do to detoxify, but then also, doing such things to help promote that lymphatic flow, deep breathing, rebounding, a vibration plate, doing some self-lymphatic drainage techniques is a really great way to start getting that liver to release to help the body naturally detoxify. When
should someone consider advanced testing. You know, you had talked about movement that supports liver health functions, but what about advanced testing or supplementation? At what point do we consider that?
Yeah, I mean, definitely when you have some of those like strong, like multiple of those strong signs or symptoms that we talked about, and of course, like if you literally start to have like right upper quadrant pain or like congestion, or you're just starting to, a lot of people, that's probably like one of the number one things they go in to the doctor for,
Right.
because they get gallstones or like gallbladder attacks, and actually that's just your liver screaming that it needs support and some liver cleansing or some herbs to help get you flushing things better, because that's your gallbladder is like literally screaming that your liver needs help. It's not, that was something I really learned. It's like, it's not necessarily like you need gallbladder remover. I mean, that surgery is so common. It's
Yes.
literally so common, but people don't think it's not necessarily going to be the one thing that solves all your problems, because you still have the root cause here, which was your liver to begin with. And obviously, like in extreme situations where people have stones, like they end up getting them removed or get the surgery and things like that. But then you still need to go back and do work to support your liver, because your liver is just going to continue to kind of get more congested. But like lab work too, like most people can get like a basic metabolic panel, or if they start to get like a little bit more. You can get like a liver enzyme test. Those are like AST or ALT. And I always tell people, again, in functional medicine, we narrow those ranges a little bit more, because we don't want it to just be like the general sick population. We want to be optimal. So they're going to be more narrow. But anytime, it's quite common for me to hear things like somebody has like some transient elevated liver enzymes, and then they come back down, and then the doctor's like, oh yeah, nothing's wrong there. They came back down, everything's good. I'm like, nope, there you go. There's some red flags your body was already giving you, because when the hepatocytes are liver cells, when they become damaged, they start to leak out AST or ALT into the bloodstream. So that is just giving you, again, it's your body giving you those little signs and signals that your liver needs some support and love. Then you get into like bilirubin markers, or that one is pretty like, yeah, some people, they usually go in and then they're going to get assessed for maybe a biliary stricture or something like that. So those ones usually scream pretty hard if they're big, because then again, people can get pretty bad elevated pancreatic enzymes or just jaundice when it's extreme, right? But again, even when those are resolved, you got to go back and support your liver, because that was the big thing that's kind of going on in the background. But even like those, again, you can still have these body symptoms long before even those lab tests are going to show dysfunction, is really what I want to make very clear, because you don't want to wait till it's like an emergency.
So, which is a great point, because Lindsay, I know you had talked about some things that we can do ahead of time, right, to support. Are there any exercises or movements that should be avoided when someone has liver congestions or elevated liver enzymes?
Well, I know it's just, you want to kind of obviously regulate your activity, like not doing really, light movements is very important. Like even as simple as like walking, stretching, breathing is a really good starting point. But liver loves exercise. So you really want to keep your body moving through this. So, I feel that if you're, another telltale sign is like, if you're doing the movement, you're doing the activity, and you're like, I'm feeling better. It's because you're actually, like I had mentioned, 500 gallons is going through your liver here. So if we're getting that heart rate elevated, we're getting things moving, you're actually increasing that blood flow to that liver. And if you're feeling a little bit better, it's like, yeah, that movement is good.
Yep, that's awesome. I was going to say, from a fitness lens, brisk walks, any activity that you can do will help support digestion, stimulate gentle liver circulation, certainly aids in detox pathways. And as always, consistency always trumps intensity, right? So we talked about this pretty much in every single episode. It's not how hard you can go once, right? It is just consistency over time is going to determine success. How long does it take to notice liver-related improvements through through natural protocols. So if you're working with someone and they're going to do it through PT, what's the timeline on that?
Well, generally, I think, individuals start feeling better quite really rapidly. So, I've worked in the PT realm where we just focus on the exercise and movement. A lot of times we're seeing them for other related issues, nothing related to their liver. But now that I have that deeper understanding of the importance of the liver and detoxification, when I'm working with a client and we're actually releasing the liver, it is instantaneous sometimes where they're like, oh my gosh, I feel like you can actually feel things like flowing and moving. They can take a deeper breath. And when they go home that day, it's like, Lindsay, I had the most amazing bowel movement. I'm peeing like crazy. It's because that body is finally able to release and clearing all that garbage out. And so, like I said, in the traditional PT realm, we're seeing, we're treating them for symptoms. We're not really treating them for, liver and PT realm. Sure. But now that I have an understanding of how important that liver health is, that is definitely my go-to. When an individual has lymphatic backup, I am automatically checking your liver, and I'm going to get your liver up and moving so that it can help detoxify.
Sure. Liver cleanses. Can you talk to what those are, how often you should do them, what's involved in them, what can people expect?
Yeah, I would say I'm just a huge fan of a good professional grade product that does it right for liver cleanses, ones that really emphasize and know the research that goes into actually supporting something called phase 1 and phase 2, and even phase 3 of the liver detoxification process. So it's basically they each of these little steps where your body has to, filter the toxins, package them up and bundle them up, and then basically be able to utilize some of these pathways to eliminate them or excrete them. There's a step-by-step process that happens. I mean, I even learned about that in pharmacy school when we were learning about these CYP enzymes and how your body's able to process medications. That was kind of one of our first lectures even. I'm a huge fan of them because of the transformations that I've seen for clients. And yeah, some of this stuff can be people think it's woo-woo or whatever, but I'm okay, you still don't see how having to, even just if you're scared, starting with a 7-day professional grade liver flush product or a 14-day one sometimes if people are feeling really sick. I've been doing some more trainings with some functional practices, and we do sometimes when people are really sick, we have a set planned for them to do a 30-day liver flush. And actually, again, it's mostly a combination of clean eating. We want them to eat clean, reduce exposure to any types of toxins to give the liver a break so it doesn't have to do so much work. And then we're actually taking a physical product, and usually these products are, yes, a combination of professional grade strength, all kinds of things like the herbs, like milk thistle, dandelion root, artichoke, alpha lipoic acid, glutathione, greens, deep dark leafy greens, which help upregulate the methylation process. So for me, it is actually science and evidence-based research. I mean, there's one product that I've used with clients for sure, and they actually have 20 literature pieces that they've linked to their product to demonstrate the science that backs it. So it's really not a woo-woo thing, but it works. And I've had almost usually on I don't promote that I'm a weight loss coach or any type of thing, but a lot of people care about that. And that's one of their symptoms. They say, weight gain has been prominent for me. And I'm okay, I'm not gonna, my job isn't that's not what I'm here for is, weight loss. If you want to work with somebody that really specializes in that, you can absolutely do that. But I will tell you that while I'm working on your hormone balance here or thyroid health, and if we do some liver cleansing, I almost, on wood here, I almost guarantee that you're going to drop a couple pounds just from doing this. And literally almost, I want to say I probably should have quantified it by now in terms of actual data, but 90% of the clients who I have done some type of liver flush with have literally lost anywhere from 5 to 10 pounds just from doing that cleansing, because you are just purging a big old amount of chemicals and toxins through that leave your body. And like you said, you just you mentioned how much the liver weighs in general.
Yes.
So yeah, it could be you holding on to toxins.
And that's exactly what you're talking about. That if that liver is not optimally functioning and it's hard and it's full, if we can kind of start purging and getting rid of some of that toxicity, like your body is going to be pulling from other places
so that
too.
it can benefit from like eating proteins and all these things.
Yes.
So you can benefit, because people are like, well, I've been doing diet and exercise and nothing seems to be working. Well, it's like we might be dealing with some underlying things still here that your body's not able to just optimally like function still. The organs need to be working best for you your body needs to feel safe for it to be able to do weight loss in general. But that I am a huge proponent of. People know that about me for sure. Right. They know.
Do you know, to who do you recommend that to? Should everyone do it every once in a while, once a year,
Get this question all the time. Yep, get this question all the time. And I say, hey, how did you feel after that liver cleanse? It is like clockwork. I have people come back. I felt so great after I did that little liver one. Can I do that again? You certainly can. I do recommend like other practices. Like I recommend like, depending on which, like the length of the ones that you're doing. Like I said, most of the times I'm recommending something from anywhere from 7 to 30 days, depending on what the clinical picture looks like.
Sure.
And I can tell based on their capacity to be able to like do something maybe for a week versus like a full blown month for it. The commitment, of the client and discussion with that. But most people can benefit from even doing like a 7-day liver cleanse, like quarterly. Quarterly is nice. Even twice yearly would be great. There's a lot of talk about like there's supplements for like that promote to be liver supporting, but it's a very big difference getting like a single like milk thistle or something like that in your smoothie versus an actual, like I'm talking like a professional grade, totally researched product with multiple pathways that help with phase 1, phase 2, phase 3 liver detoxification, all working together to give you a nice little purge that's going to help you. So, I mean, you can do slow support of like a liver supplement for sure, but you're going to get a nice strong benefit in terms of the things that I've seen in terms of people with skin rashes. Sleep generally tends to improve for people. That I had like one particular client I can think of in general was pretty stubborn. And then I said, I think you should give this liver, because he actually had pre-diabetes numbers. And I said, you should give this liver cleansing a try. And he didn't really he's like, you know what? Fine. I think I'll do it. And that was the thing. Then he was the one asking me like a month or 2 months later, he's like, can I do that liver cleanse again? I said, that was the thing that helped me start sleeping better. And he was quantifying it in terms of how many hours he was being able to sleep. Sure. So yeah. I think they're good tools to keep in the toolkit. And when you feel good with something, that's always what I tell clients too, is like, remember this, like, remember what we did, and maybe you'll go back to some of those principles and incorporate those again if you were feeling good when you were doing XYZ, because we document it all too.
I think of just like the toxicity that we talked about. There's so much toxicity that we're being exposed to, and our liver is processing a lot of things. And I really feel like that's a great starting point, is try to get that liver flushed and moving, because it can level out a lot of things, right? The different hormone balances and all that kind of thing too. So I think if you're just feeling stuck and full and just needing help, I think a liver cleanse is a really good first step to kind of get that system flushed and opened up and moving.
Yeah, and we've talked about using like castor oil packs on the liver like twice a week or something as a maintenance strategy. And if you're really sick, you can use them a little bit more for like a month maybe or something. That is definitely like a really good maintenance tool. It was the very first thing when I had estrogen dominance. I was like, I can purchase this castor oil pack, and I'm going to do this castor oil pack. Didn't know what the heck it was, why it was going to help me at the time, because I was working with a different gal out in like Colorado, and everything she was telling me was pretty much spot on. I was feeling better with periods and things like that. And then I learned to love my castor oil pack.
What practices can people implement? I mean, so we talked about the liver cleanse, but what are daily practices that someone could incorporate to help support liver health?
I think just the movement, being consistent, doing things to kind of get that body moving. You've got to get that, the lymphatic system up and going. So gentle walking, movement, vibration plate, rebounding. I love the castor oil packs. Definitely incorporate those twice a week in my daily practice or weekly practice. I think those are huge.
And you do them when someone is new to castor oil packs, would you recommend twice a week?
You start out slow because a lot of individuals, castor oil is a natural detoxer, and sometimes it can affect your GI system. And so I tell my patients we need to start out slow with those. So I would just start out maybe at least a couple times per week and kind of see.
Okay. Yeah, I usually tell people if you're just starting, maybe 2 times a week max, because they're usually gonna, if they've never done anything for their liver, they're gonna have a little bit of a detox effect, and slower is better. Be hydrated before you use that castor oil pack, because the body's holds on to more. If you're not, if you're dehydrated, it's going to hold on and not release as much toxins. You can always take a binder too, with the castor oil pack, a couple minutes before you put that on too, if you're worried about too much detox. You can just some activated charcoal or something like that.
Sure.
That's helpful. My things for sure, I'm going to tell you to eat the liver loving foods. I post about beets all the time on my Instagram. Here's my beet in my salad, or my beet powder in my smoothie. Because I use those. Those are daily habits to give the liver love, is the bitter foods. So like arugula, lemons, limes, dandelion greens. I only put those in smoothies. They're very bitter, but the beets is a really big one, just like how powerful they actually are for the liver. And then simple little habit, not everybody does this, but it's that little lemon in the water in the morning with a pinch of salt that wakes up your liver. And there's some more intricate ones out there, right? I've heard with cayenne pepper and turmeric and maple syrup or something. I don't know. People got all these little concoctions. If it works for them, great, because that helps get the lymph moving, the cayenne. So,
sure.
I like them. I definitely do that lemon water trick for sure most mornings. Not perfect with that every morning, but definitely has been in my toolkit now for about 2 years to just kind of help wake up the liver in the morning. And of course,
what do you a couple lemon slices in a glass of water?
Yeah, I just have I cut up a lemon and then keep all those slices for the rest of the week, but just one slice and squeeze it right into the water. It's bonus if you can actually get the peel, and again, that's an extra step in the routine. In the morning. So I do have a peel shredder, and I was doing that for a little bit, but sometimes it's time consuming. Yes, I'm well, at least I'm doing the lemon in the water with the little salt.
You had mentioned milk thistle as a supplement in smoothies or something. Is that a daily supplement?
No, none of those things I would say is just consistent. Keep it in your house. If you're making a smoothie, be there's my milk thistle powder. I'm going to put it in there. But it's definitely okay, you're not a bad person if you skip the milk thistle for the day kind of thing. It's for me, I tell people, this is what I could preach till the end of time. This is a lifestyle. Wellness is a lifestyle. You keep all these little tools around. I have my supplements in my pantry, and we're not taking all of them every single day, but it's a lifestyle. I have the tools there, and I'm consistently eating liver foods 5 out of 7 days of the week or something about it. I think about it. I make a conscious effort to go to the grocery store and add some of those things in, so it's in my pantry and that I'm using it on a consistent basis. Not an all or nothing. You're never going to succeed if you always think that everything is all or nothing.
Right. Again, that's
behind the scenes, right? I'm not perfect.
Consistency. Yeah.
But it is the consistency that has brought a lot of wins for sure, I would say, in my own particular health journey.
Final thoughts?
I think the biggest thing is, movement is medicine for your liver. So find ways to get that liver moving, whether it's physically moving or finding ways to kind of help the internal side move.
For sure. Final thoughts?
Oh, yeah, but just the liver is everything. Gosh, liver health is so important, and it does need a little bit of love here and there, even if it's not, like I said, screaming at you with all those symptoms. Still, you'll be pretty surprised on how you feel, and when you give the liver a little bit of love and give something a try, and maybe do a little detox or something like that once and see how it goes.
For sure. I think what we've learned or confirmed today is that your liver is absolutely foundational to good health. So supporting it with a whole food diet, strategic supplementation, gentle movement is going to be key. If you found this episode helpful, please share it with a friend. If you haven't already, please leave us a review and subscribe. We are on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and wherever you get your podcasts. So have a great day, and we'll see you next time.